Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Super Lunch Roast Podcast, episode number 135. I am Brendan. UFC Fight Night, Holmes versus Vieira, prelims. We're going to go over them right now. Okay, we are going to cover the prelims. If you are looking for the main event and the main card, it's in the last video, silly. Go back there, episode 134. If you're looking for the Eagle FC card that happened over the weekend, 133. Keep on moving. But I appreciate y'all for being here. We're going to talk about Amedovski versus Holmes, Almeida versus Porter, Morales versus Medic, Morales versus Martinez. No, he did not fight twice. Those are two different guys. So we're going to talk about all those fights on here. If you are on this video and you've already made it past my intro, you clearly are interested in this stuff. Subscribe to the channel because you're going to be interested in everything that I put out. I promise. Okay. I cover the UFC, Eagle FC. Don't do Titan yet, although I could. If you guys want me to cover Titan FC, I will. One FC sometimes. I do every Bellator event. I put out 2 or 3 videos a week covering all these things, going over fight by fight. I'd really appreciate it. And if you do like the video, hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up. Appreciate y'all. All right, let's talk about some fights, huh? All right, Joseph, Ugly Man Joe Holmes. I love that nickname. His second fight in the UFC. Coming back and getting the win here. Looking really good, throwing this nasty knee. You saw it in the thumbnail. He threw this beautiful knee against Amedovski, lands it flush on the chin, puts him down, follows it up, gets a rear naked choke, and a great victory for him. What a great way to come back from his first fight in the UFC. A little bit lackluster, gassing out quite a bit, fighting who did he fight? I know that. Oh, Jamie Pickett. Fighting a game opponent, somebody else who has a bright future ahead of him. He's big, he's lanky for this division. He has a good future ahead of him if he can solve some of the problems that this division is going to provide him. So in middleweight, there's a lot of challenges, not the least of which being wrestling. And he said he's one of the best grapplers in the division. He said he is the best grappler in this division. So time will tell, but if you're a wrestle heavy guy, you can make it far. You really can. That's not what I saw in his last fight versus Pickett, and that's not what I saw in this one necessarily, but he didn't really get a chance to show it, so that's fine. I thought he looked good. I'm glad he's back in the win column. He seems like a quality guy. Seems like a quality prospect. I'm excited to see how this goes, how it looks going forward. All right, Jailton Almeida versus Parker Porter. Almeida should be fighting at light heavyweight, but he, didn't cut weight for this one, so, he's fighting at heavyweight just to get his feet wet in the UFC here, or more wet anyway. Taking on Parker Porter. Parker Porter, a very, very sloppy heavyweight. This one did not last long anyway, so Jailton got a choke before the first round ended. So the whole round was contested on the ground. Almeida was sitting on top the whole time. Porter not able to do anything. And then eventually Almeida just gets a half rear naked. It wasn't a rear naked choke. It was from the side position, and he just put a lot of pressure on him, and Porter just quit. So not much to say about that one. All right, let's get to some fun fights, eh? All right, if you did not watch the prelims, I recommend going back and watching this one. It was fun to watch. There are actually 2 or 3 fights worth watching on the prelims here. The prelims, honestly, were worth watching as a whole, start to finish. Skip the commercials, obviously, but watch the fight. So Omar Morales versus Uros Medic. So Medic over here talked not necessarily a lot of crap, but he got the win. He got the knockout in the second round here. He talked about how he hits harder and faster than anybody that Morales has faced, and blah blah blah. And in the first round, it wasn't, Medic didn't find a groove early. Morales was he was poking and stabbing with the kicks and poking with the jab, also throwing big and missing shots all over the place. But overall, I felt like he landed more and did more damage. I guess I'm wrong. Medic must have landed some secret shots that I wasn't watching. I thought Morales did more damage in that first round, but if you gave that first round to Medic, I guess I'm out of my mind here. Second round, it was a much better round for Medic. He kind of finally found his groove. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. At the end of that first round, Medic landed one really big shot, but I didn't feel that was enough to take the round for me. It doesn't matter because he won it in the second. So Medic landed 4 or 5 really big hooks. Also in the thumbnail, he landed these left hooks that just, they were so loud and not disgusting sounding, but the amount of impact that you could feel it, right? You could feel it through the screen. That's how hard they were, and that's how loud they were. It didn't make me uncomfortable or anything. It's not like a crunch or a bone break or a cut or anything like that. It's just one of those ones where you could feel the impact. You're like, holy shit. And Morales took 3 of them. It was the 4th one. He was like, his body was like, no, dude, we're done with this. It's sleepy time. Yeah, we're not here anymore. Bye-bye. And he went down. So Medic hopping back on the horse, getting the win here. His last fight was against Jalen Turner. Ended up losing via rear naked choke. So he's back in the win column as well. Moving on here. Another Morales. Vince Morales versus Jonathan Martinez. This fight went the distance. Okay. Martinez got the decision win. He kind of dominated the whole fight. So Martinez was using his low kicks to control distance and do most of the damage in that first round through low leg kicks. And then he would throw some to the body. He would throw some up top, but really a majority of them were low leg kicks. And it was interesting to see, you can see here, 14 of his strikes were to the legs. 14 of the 24. And he was just doing a good job with it. Morales wasn't able to move in or do anything significant, so easy round for Martinez. Second round, it was same as the first round, in my opinion. I thought it looked very he landed 13 of 13 as far as low leg kicks go. He landed a little bit more up top as well, but the biggest difference in this was those leg kicks and Morales never being able to move in, never really being able to implement his game plan. He was always at the whim of whatever Martinez was going to allow him to do, and he just didn't allow him to do anything. And then in the third round, Morales was finally having a better round here. He was doing better. He was being aggressive. His coaches told him to come out. He was taking that front foot, putting the weight on that front foot finally, stepping forward, stepping into the fire, looking to, engage. He knew that this is the only way that I can win the fight, and that's what he tried to do. He moved forward, took the damage as he went in, threw out some of his own, but then Martinez gets a takedown and then finishes the fight pretty much in grappling exchanges. He actually slammed him with like 10 seconds left as well. So easy win for Martinez. I think Martinez looks amazing. It's going to be fun watching him fight. He's got the win, 3 wins in a row now. He lost to Davey Grant. No shame in that. He's got wins over Thomas Almeida, Frankie Sainz. Yeah, he's the real deal. And he's still relatively young in his UFC career. He's only been fighting in the UFC for 4 years. Plenty of wins under the belt. Time to jump him up in. He's 16-4. Time to jump up his level of competition here. It's time to see what he can do against maybe not a ranked opponent yet, but he's getting pretty damn close. All right, let's look at the kid here. Chase the Dream Hooper. Almost put him in the thumbnail. It just wasn't a single moment that captured the essence of the fight, so I couldn't put him in there. And he obviously was lower on the card, so he wasn't like the main attraction for this one. But it's worth going into because he did get the win here. He got the finish in the third round, a TKO finish to be exact. This first round, Colares grabbed the cage and lost his position immediately, so that was nice to see. Mark Smith was not fucking around. I've given crap to Mark Smith in the past, and I'll continue to do so in the future when I see it necessary for someone who's constantly warning people. And, if you're talking to the fighters and distracting them from the fight by telling them that they're almost going to do something or thinking about doing something, or they might be possibly thinking about possibly doing something maybe in the future. Yeah, I know that sounded stupid, but that's what he's doing, right? He's assuming that somewhere down the line, they're going to do something illegal. So I'm going to warn them now because they're next to the fence. Therefore, they could grab it. So, hey, keep your fingers out of the fence. They're not in the fence. I know, but they could be. All right, Mr. Smith. I appreciate the warning. I'm in the middle of a fight here. Let me focus, please. Okay, but don't put your fingers in the fence. So I haven't noticed that as much recently. Maybe I'm blinded. Maybe I'm not paying attention as hard as I was before. I have not seen that happen as much, but this time was beautiful. I love to see it. I want to see more of this shit. It was perfect. Dude, Colares grabbed the fence. Mark Smith immediately smacked his hand, stopped the fight. He's like, get up. Get up. You don't get to be on top anymore, jackass. Get out of there. No, you grab the fence. You're out. The only thing better would be immediately taking a point, but I think this is bare minimum, like what you should be doing as a referee. You lose position, okay? You instantly lose position. You whether it's inadvertent or not, it doesn't matter. The effects are the same. Grabbing a fence and pulling it, whether you did it intentionally or it was reactionary or whatever, you did it. You lose position. So good job, Mark Smith. Thank you very much. That was fantastic. I love to see it. I want to see more of it. Every other referee should be doing that shit every single time. So with that little side note out of the way, Hooper was having some issues with control early, taking some shots on the bottom, but he turned it around and he got a lot of pressure. His pressure wore away, and he got a lot of good shots in that first round and ended up outlanding him 26-11. Hooper, on my card, won the first round anyway. Second round, Colares was landing some more damage in the second round. He had better positions, and Hooper was constantly have to fight off his back. Wasn't able to land the damage or kind of get those good positions that he did in the first round. If you look at total strikes, it looks so silly. 140-43. Where did most of those come from? In that third round. Yeah, if you look at total strikes and even significant strikes in that second round, they were very close. But the thing is, Colares wasn't really in danger in that second round of submissions, and I felt like he did more damage. So I actually gave him that second round. It was pretty close, but in my opinion, it was close enough. Did anybody else give it to him? Yep, I'm not crazy. Oh, boy. Yeah. Saul D'Amato gave it to Hooper. Mike Bell and Adelaide Bird gave it to Colares. So, boy, these are three names that I actually hear a lot as far as the judges go. Derek Clearly as well. I know that name. Anyway, I'm not out of my mind. Just because it's Adelaide Bird doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong. But I did give Colares that second round. It doesn't matter, though, because Hooper, dude, he just wore him down. In this third round, if you look at total strikes, you look at significant strikes, 28-2, 66-2, Hooper just wore him down, man. He just kept pressing the issue, kept trying to advance in the grappling. He just wore him down, got into mount multiple times, made him flip over, made him choose. You want to get choked out or you want to get punched in the face? And then eventually he just, stopped moving. The fight was called off. Decent stoppage. I'm not mad about it. It's good. It's cool to see Hooper get a TKO. Hooper's had a weird go of it in the UFC here. Daniel Tamer, that was an interesting fight because Tamer was a very good fighter and was doing a ton of damage to Hooper, but Hooper ended up weathering the storm and going through it. And then he loses to Alex Caceres, which is, no shame in that. Alex Caceres is a true veteran, and he's very good, and he's had quite a bit of good fights recently. Peter Barrett, don't know him. Steven Peterson got a loss. So, he's traded wins and losses. He's still very young. I mean, this dude he barely made the cutoff for being born in the last millennia. He has a lot of work that he can do, especially on the feet, cleaning up his striking to make sure he's not taking damage going forward. I think that's going to be the biggest leap. Everybody's talking about when he grows into his man body and when he grows up into his man strength and all that stuff. I don't know if that's ever going to be the case. It doesn't seem like that's his frame, right? There's a lot of fighters who are in their late 20s and 30s who would, if you look at them, would you say that they have like a powerful frame or they're super strong or they outstrength their opponent every time? I wouldn't say so. So I'm not on that train necessarily. I don't think that his biggest advancements are going to come from him growing into his body, even though I hear that being a talking point constantly. What I think the biggest difference is him putting his nose to the grindstone and just working on his striking, becoming a more efficient striker. His grappling is excellent. I think he has enough stuff that he can get by on the ground even against higher level opponents, it's really going to be his striking. He's too hittable. He is, and he's going to take too much damage. The way he's going to lengthen his career is by increasing, obviously, the frequency and ability of takedowns and being able to control his opponent. But he needs to shore up his striking. He does. Damian Maia was able to extend his career, and with a grapple-heavy offense, and his striking never got really good. But that's because he was so far advanced on the ground, and I don't think Hooper is that. I think he's good on the ground, but I don't know if that's going to fly once he starts hitting, if he ever does sniff like a top 15 ranking. So, okay, let's talk about the first fight on the card. A little bit of I have a little bit of a side note when it comes to the end of this one, because Hughes did get the win here, rightfully so. She gets the TKO victory in the final round. I am okay with it, and I'll explain why I say that in about 2 seconds. So, first round, all the damage was going Sam Hughes' direction. So, I had it 10-9 for her, easy peasy. The second round was even more so, like one shot thrown back. I don't know if there was enough damage to give it a 10-8, but you could give it a 10-8. 2018, I had it going into the third round. Did anybody give her a 10-8? Aha, look at that. Ron McCarthy giving her the 10-8. Very good, very good. There's just, Elise Reed didn't do anything back, okay? And then in this final round here, Sam Hughes got the finish from Mount. So here's the thing. Let's talk about this, shall we? Just for a second here, if you would. Come along with me on this little mental exercise I'm about to take. Hughes got the finish from Mount. None of those shots were fight-ending shots, okay? Remember a couple weeks ago when there was a controversy over Liz Carmouche getting that win from the crucifix position with only a couple seconds left? Do you remember that one? Well, she got the TKO finish because her opponent couldn't intelligently defend herself. But none of those shots were fight-ending shots. This is the exact same scenario. I understand that there's no title on the line. I get that. I'm not one of those people who's a hardcore, like, title fights deserve different refereeing or different scoring criteria or any of that stuff. I think that's kind of baloney. I think every fight should be judged and refereed exactly the same, whether they're fighting in a backyard in some small local event or fighting for the biggest title in the UFC. Doesn't matter. The rules are the rules. The scoring criteria is the scoring criteria. All of it should remain the same. Okay? Now, that being said, you can have context to those things, right? Like stalling. This is a side note. There are contextual differences. If you see that someone who's not known for their grappling is trying to just sit on someone and not going for a finish, versus an active wrestler like Kobe Covington trying to wrestle his opponent and constantly change position, there's a difference between those two. One of them is stalling. One of them is preventing his opponent from doing anything by implementing his own offense. Okay? Now, I brought up context because this one shouldn't have any context. There's no context. If you're not intelligently defending yourself, fight's over. Fight's over. Okay, turtle position is not intelligent defense. Moving your face back and forth is not intelligent defense. Get out of the position. You took 7, this was a couple weeks ago now, but she took 7 shots against Liz Carmouche. 7, or I forget, maybe it was even more. She couldn't defend herself. And there was an uproar. Everybody was complaining. Oh, this fight was stopped too early. Where's the complaints? Is it because this wasn't for a title? Is this because people weren't paying attention? Or is it because that people didn't want Liz Carmouche to win that way? Is that what it is? Because Liz Carmouche was losing that fight? Is that what this is? Because Sam Hughes is winning. So they're like, oh, Sam Hughes is winning. Oh, she got the win. So therefore, all is right with the world. Is that what this is? Because that's bullshit. There's no context. whether you lose 14 minutes and 30 seconds or you win 14 minutes and 30 seconds and you get to the exact same position, the finish is the finish. The end is the end. The rules are the rules. If you don't defend yourself, the fight's fucking over. That's the end of it. I don't care that you were winning like a majority of the fight. It doesn't matter. You can't just stop defending yourself. I don't care. So for all of you, though, all you guys, all you media pundits, and all you people who were offended, your delicate sensibilities were all, your panties were in a wad, whatever you want to call it, a few weeks ago because Liz Carmouche got a belt that way. I need you to go watch this fight and then go to Twitter and complain about this one too. So you need to have consistency. As the great Kamaru Usman said, man, you got to bring that same energy. Fucking fag swagger. Anyway, that is it. I just had a little rant there because I did notice it, and it was the very first fight on the card, and it was like, oh my God, here we go. I thought there was going to be more complaints, but apparently all is right with the world when you're winning the fight and you do that. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you know when my next video is coming out. I do make at least 2 or 3 of these every single week. I cover different fighting organizations. I cover UFC, Eagle FC, ONE FC, Bellator. I cover a lot of stuff. So if you're interested in any of those, subscribe to the channel. That way you know when the next video is coming out. And if you made it this far, I know you had to like something about the video. So just click the thumbs up. It would really means a lot to me knowing that people actually enjoy the content that I'm putting out. So I'd really appreciate it. All right. If you don't end up going to watch any other videos and you just came here, that's awesome. If you want to see the main card, it's in the last video. If you want to see Eagle FC, it's in the video before that. And if this is the last video that you are watching over the weekend or this week, I hope everybody has an amazing week. Love y'all.